in a second crack at a Stanley Cup that you would be at home and come out flat.
Yeah, that was probably the most surprising, and it was interesting. I know it was a quick turnaround, so with the 1 day in between, just the way that the schedule went, that was going to be a challenging game, I thought. But I also felt, listening to Chris Knobloch in between games, he talked about urgency. And, they didn't have it in Game 4, but they got it when they got that first power play goal. And now all of a sudden we're down 3-1. The urgency kicked in. And you see a difference, well, in any team. But when you've got the top guys and then the complementary guys feed off the energy of the top guys, that urgency was there. It was there in Game 4. It was a task to win that game, and it was shocking. I mean, he even said we have to come out in Game 5 with that same urgency, and Nick, I agree with you. You know how these playoff journeys go. You sometimes can't explain why you just don't quite have it. And maybe you're just a little bit of nerves. Maybe there's fatigue. Maybe there's doubt. I don't know. But it was clear when something, didn't go their way early on. They did have, I think, a pretty good start. But that face-off goal from center ice just changed everything. And it went to Florida's legs. It took Edmonton's out. I don't think they had a shot in the last 11 minutes of period 1 in Game 5. And it's kind of unexplainable. And, those are the things that as a team you have to try to dig in and address and find out, what do we need to do differently? How do we need to think differently going into this Game 6 to change that? But, wow, you talk about opportunity missed. It was the opportunity that they were really waiting for with that home ice advantage to take control of Game 5, and quite frankly, Florida just took it away from them.
The face-off goal, the Marchand off the face-off, obviously put goals in, gets a lot of heat for just a slow reaction off. But then there's Ekholm, who's on his off side. Was that a bigger factor than we were making it out to be, or is that just the second guy that got caught flat-footed or changing feet at the wrong time?
Yeah, it compounds the problem, right? Like, you make one mistake, and then the second layer makes the second mistake. That's what can happen. Good players. And listen, Brad made a great move. He did everything that you expect a great player to take advantage of those two little mistakes. And they are. Both face-off goals are just devastating goals. Center ice, I said on the broadcast, when you drop, rarely do you drop the puck at center ice, right? You do it at the start of the game after a goal. And start of the game, guys are into it and they're focused, and maybe the attention to detail is because you're ready to get started. And so you don't maybe have a lapse like that if you're a veteran guy. Podkolzin, and it was just, this is a face-off, and I'm not worried about a guy jumping by me like it would be in the defensive zone. And that little lapse, a veteran guy who's having a hell of a series took advantage of it. And I do think being on his offside hurt Ekholm a little bit. I also think Ekholm's played 6 games since, basically being ruled out of coming back at all. And 3 of those in overtime. All of a sudden he's playing over 25 minutes. And, Nick, when you come back from injury, I've lived it too. You can get by on adrenaline for the first maybe 2 games, maybe 3. You get 2 weeks into that and you're playing in the Stanley Cup final and you've had 3 long overtimes. Sometimes the engine just can't get going. And I think a little bit for Ekholm, you're seeing a bit of that now, getting overly taxed at a time when, he made good, played 15 minutes in his first game, and then all of a sudden you're in that 27, 28 minutes because of the overtimes. And that's one little lapse. But, man, good teams make you pay for those lapses.
So we're talking about that goal off the face-off on Podkolzin, maybe on Ekholm, but Marchand, my God, Simmer, that cut to the inside, the trapping of the stick of Ekholm.
I thought he was slow, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he supposed to be slow?
He's been unbelievable. I mean, that one was so good. Obviously, the other one, 2 just beautiful goals. So we see players in the playoffs at random times have great series who aren't necessarily great players. I don't know, Ville Leino, Fernando Pisani, whoever you want to chalk that up to. Is this still Marchand's level? Do you believe this is sustainable? Like he's still an elite offensive force at his age?
Well, I can guarantee you that he can't play that way for 82 regular season games.
Right.
Like you get to 38 next year and you're going, I can't do it. I said on the broadcast, I think after his second goal, and I agree with you, Justin, like the skill of protecting the puck without having the puck on your stick is really an exceptional talent. And that was just beautiful, putting it to an area, slapping the stick of Wallman, jumping around behind him, keeping his legs moving, protecting, like all those little things you can't teach. It has to be an instinctive play. And I just think that, said in the broadcast, every Stanley Cup team loses guys. So when you get back the next year, you try to bring in guys who either have never won and are good young players. Like for me, as a 20-year-old coming into Edmonton, in my third year in the league, you're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now all of a sudden you're in the finals. The older guys love having somebody who is experiencing it for the first time and has that drive. Like, this is what I've been dreaming about my whole life. It adds energy to guys who have been there before and have done it. But it also can be a guy at the end of the road and who has won before, who knows what it's take. He's lost before, so he knows what that feels like too, which quite frankly is important as well. You know what you didn't do the two times that you lost, or the little thing that made a difference that changed the series. And you had a guy like that, and that's what you're seeing from Brad, that's going, this is my chance. And do I think he can play this well for 82? No, but man, he has looked like he's got an extra step. He's looked like he knows that this might be his last chance ever in his life as a hockey player to win the Stanley Cup, and good for him. Like, he's playing like it. And it also then brings energy to the guys who have won it last year too, going, oh my God, we got to win it for him too. Like that's why GMs do those kind of things. Either a younger player that has the spark. For us, it was, Adam Graves, Joe Murphy, Peter Klima coming in, guys who had never been there before in 1990, and they did give us a spark too. Some of the guys who had won 4 Stanley Cups are like, let's win for those guys. It's even more valuable when you got a 1,000-point guy who's played, he played 175 playoff games, and you go, let's go win it for him. And it's just been a perfect marriage, hasn't it? And he's been, originally you're thinking it could be Bennett as the Conn Smythe, it could be Bobrovsky, but all of a sudden you're looking at Marchand. He got 6 goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs in the Stanley Cup final in 5 games. Like, how much more impact could you have as a player going into that role? Not much better.
You're listening to Craig Simpson, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, Hockey Night in Canada analyst, which brings me to my next question on a guy like Sam Bennett. And, to your point a little bit, and Simmer, we may have 20, 22 teams that have to play 82 games as if everyone will decide whether or not they go to the playoffs. Florida was not one of them. So could a guy like Bennett just pick and choose his spots over 82 games? Because, Justin and I have had a few conversations